Hello, friends! Today we bring you a true masterpiece of engineering. A car that started life as a simple city hatchback, but was transformed into a mid-engine, turbocharged beast. Small on the outside, but with a huge heart inside. Get ready, because we're about to uncover all the secrets of the legendary Renault 5 Turbo. When we think about the most iconic cars of the 1980s, names like the Lancia Stratos, the Audi Quattro, or the Peugeot 205 T16 quickly come to mind. But there is one car that, although it started life as a simple city hatchback, went on to become a true legend both on and off the rally stages. The Renault 5 Turbo. This car broke every rule. It turned a humble city car into a mid-engine, turbocharged, lightweight, and radical machine, built to fight against the giants of Group 4 and later Group B. Today, we dive into its story, how it looked on the outside, how it felt inside, what it hid under the hood, and most importantly, all those fascinating details. How many were built? How much it cost new? How much it costs today? Where it was sold? And even which cars shared components with it? The original Renault 5 was launched in 1972. It was a small, affordable, and practical city car. Light, cheap, and easy to drive, it became a massive success in Europe. But by the late 70s, Renault wanted more. They wanted to transform that innocent little hatchback into a fearsome competition car. The idea came from two engineers, Jean Ragnotti and Michel Tetu. They proposed building a car that could be homologated for Group 4 rallying. To do so, Renault had to produce at least 400 road-going units. The project was handed to Renault Sport and Alpine. The transformation was extreme. The engine was moved behind the front seats, the bodywork was massively widened, and a turbocharger changed everything. The result was the Renault 5 Turbo, unveiled at the Brussels Motor Show in 1980, a car that immediately stole the spotlight. From the outside, the Renault 5 Turbo looked like a normal R5 on steroids. The body was much wider, with huge wheel arches. Massive side intakes fed cool air to the mid-mounted engine. Its stance was low, muscular, and aggressive. If the regular Renault 5 was a car for grocery shopping, the Turbo looked like it had just escaped from a rally stage. Inside, the changes were just as radical. This was a two-seater car, because the rear seats were sacrificed to make room for the engine. It featured bucket-style sports seats to keep the driver firmly in place. The dashboard included extra gauges for the Turbo, with bright and colorful details. And many units had leather and carpet finishes, giving it a somewhat luxurious feel, despite being a competition tool homologated for the road. The engine was a 1.4-liter four-cylinder, derived from the Renault 5 Alpine, but heavily modified. It was mounted in a mid-rear position, something unheard of for a city hatchback. With a Garrett T3 turbocharger, it produced around 160 horsepower in road trim. That may sound modest today, but in a car weighing just 970 kilos, it was a rocket. In competition form, depending on the setup, it could exceed 300 horsepower. The challenge was the turbo lag. When the boost finally arrived, it hit hard, making the car extremely difficult to control. Although people often refer to the Renault 5 Turbo as a single model, there were actually two main versions. The Turbo one, built between 1980 and 1982, had lightweight aluminum and magnesium panels, a very colorful interior, and about 1,820 units were made. Later came the Turbo 2, produced from 1983 to 1986. This one swapped aluminum for steel to reduce costs, and it used more standard Renault parts. It still produced 160 horsepower, though competition versions were far more powerful. About 3,167 units of the Turbo 2 were made. In total, just under 5,000 Renault 5 Turbos were produced. That rarity explains why it's so sought after by collectors today. In rallying, the car shined particularly on tarmac. It debuted at the 1980 Tour de Corse, where Jean Ragnotti impressed everyone with his aggressive driving style. Its greatest victory came at the 1981 Monte Carlo rally, where Ragnotti beat much larger rivals. It also scored wins in other World Rally events and national championships across Europe. Although the arrival of the Audi Quattro with all-wheel drive soon overshadowed it, the R5 Turbo earned its place in rallying history. There are plenty of unique details that make this car fascinating. It was one of the very few hatchbacks with a mid-engine and rear-wheel drive layout. Its concept was inspired partly by the Lancia Stratos. The engine block came from the Renault 5 Alpine, but it was so heavily modified, it became something else entirely. The Turbo 1 used aluminum body panels and had a colorful interior, while the Turbo 2 was simpler, but still very expensive. Back in the 1980s, it cost around 120,000 French francs, almost the same as a Porsche 911. Today, depending on condition, a Renault 5 Turbo can sell at auction for between 80,000 and over 150,000 euros. Most of the cars were sold in Europe, especially in France and Germany. Some went to the UK and Spain, and a handful were privately imported into the United States. The Renault 5 Turbo wasn't just a spectacular rally car. It represented a golden era when manufacturers dared to build cars that would never be possible today. A city hatchback turned into a mid-engine, rear-wheel drive pocket rocket, with the looks of a toy, but the soul of a race car. It is now considered one of Renault's greatest achievements and one of the most iconic French sports cars ever built. The Renault 5 Turbo has it all: bold design, explosive performance, a thrilling competition story, and an aura of exclusivity that makes it a true cult classic. It was born as an experiment. It triumphed in rallying, and more than 40 years later, it remains one of the most desirable classics in the world. If you enjoyed this journey through the history of the Renault 5 Turbo, don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. And tell us in the comments, which do you think is the greatest rally car of the 1980s?